Have you ever sat across from a guy and felt a sudden electric shift in the air, but couldn't quite tell if he was genuinely falling for you or just being friendly? It is one of the most exhilarating and deeply frustrating mysteries in human dating. You find yourself overanalyzing every single text message, dissecting the tone of his voice, and replaying your casual interactions over and over in your head, looking for a definitive answer. The truth is, men are rarely as mysterious as they seem. Long before a man ever gathers up the courage to look you in the eye and state his romantic feelings out loud, his subconscious mind has already confessed his secrets 1,000 times over. The human brain is hardwired to betray our deepest desires through a complex language of involuntary physical tells, microexpressions, and behavioral shifts that are practically impossible to fake. The real problem isn't that men don't show how they feel. It's that we are practically trained to ignore the evidence staring us right in the face. In a world full of digital noise, mixed signals, and modern dating anxieties, it is incredibly easy to brush off a lingering look as a fluke or dismiss a subtle touch as a complete accident. We protect our hearts by rationalizing away the obvious, convincing ourselves that we are just imagining things. But when a man is truly drawn to you, his entire biology undergoes a profound shift whenever you walk into the room. His posture alters, his focus locks in, and his body language begins operating on a completely different frequency dedicated entirely to capturing your attention and ensuring your comfort. Understanding these unspoken signals is like inheriting a secret roadmap to his inner world. It allows you to bypass the exhausting mind games, cut straight through the social awkwardness, and see his true intentions with absolute, crystal-clear clarity. You don't need to wait for a grand, cinematic declaration of love to know where you stand. The real truth lives in the quiet, unscripted moments, the way he positions his feet in a crowded room, the specific register of his voice when he whispers your name, or the subtle way he clears a table to get just a fraction of an inch closer to you. If you have been feeling a powerful undercurrent of chemistry but find yourself trapped in a loop of constant self-doubt, it's time to stop guessing. Prepare to pull back the curtain on human psychology and behavioral design. Here are 15 obvious, psychologically proven signs that he is completely into you. Signs that are happening right under your nose, which you are probably completely ignoring. 1. The subconscious forward lean. When a person is genuinely drawn to someone, their body naturally betrays their interest through a physical phenomenon known as positive proxemics. This is essentially the subconscious urge to reduce the physical distance between themselves and the object of their attention. In a crowded room, a noisy cafe, or even a quiet one-on-one setting, you will notice that he repeatedly leans in close whenever you are speaking. This is not just about trying to hear you better over background noise. It is a fundamental biological response driven by engagement and comfort. When we are indifferent or uncomfortable around someone, our natural instinct is to maintain a protective boundary, often leaning back, crossing our arms, or creating a subtle physical buffer zone to keep our distance. Conversely, when he leans forward, he is actively signaling that he is fully invested in the interaction. His attention is entirely locked onto you, and he is trying to create a shared, intimate space that excludes the rest of the world. This movement is rarely a conscious decision. Rather, the brain's reward centers are firing, pulling his physical form toward yours. You might notice this when you are sitting across a table from him and he rests his forearms on the surface, tilting his upper body in your direction. Even when standing, his torso will subtly incline toward you rather than remaining rigid or tilting away. It is an undeniable sign of warmth, openness, and an eagerness to connect on a deeper level. By minimizing the space between you, he is trying to get as close to you as socially acceptable, proving that your presence is magnetic to him. 2. Prolonged eye contact, followed by a sudden glance away. Eye contact is one of the most powerful tools in human courtship, acting as a direct channel for emotional connection and vulnerability. When a man is highly attracted to you, his gaze will linger on your face far longer than the standard parameters of casual or friendly conversation allow. Normal social eye contact generally lasts for just a few seconds before a person looks away to break the intensity. However, when he likes you, he will hold your gaze for an extra beat or two, allowing a palpable tension to build between you. This extended look is his subconscious way of trying to read your emotions, gauge your interest, and establish an unspoken bond. It shows a high level of focus and a desire to truly see and be seen by you. The second part of this behavior is equally telling: the sudden glance away. This reaction is heavily rooted in a mix of vulnerability, self-consciousness, and a fear of rejection. If you catch him staring from across a room, or if the intensity of a shared look becomes too overwhelming during a close conversation, he might abruptly snap his gaze downward or toward the side. This sudden movement is a classic micro-expression of being caught in the act. It betrays his internal nervousness and confirms that his gaze was not merely a random, blank stare. A man who is completely platonic or indifferent will not experience this rush of adrenaline or self-consciousness. He will simply look away naturally without any hint of fluster. The combination of intense, lingering eye contact followed by a nervous, rapid avoidance of your eyes is a textbook indicator that he is harboring strong romantic feelings that he is trying to manage. 3. The preening reflex around you. Preening behavior is an evolutionary courtship ritual found across the animal kingdom, and humans are certainly no exception. The moment you walk into a room or approach his immediate vicinity, a man who likes you will undergo an immediate, subconscious physical adjustment. His brain instantly flags your presence as highly important, triggering an automatic desire to present the absolute best version of himself to you. This manifests in a flurry of small, rapid micro-adjustments to his clothing, hair, and posture. You might notice him suddenly running his fingers through his hair, straightening his shirt collar, smoothing out the wrinkles in his jacket, or adjusting his watch. These actions happen completely on autopilot, driven by a deep-seated biological drive to appear attractive and put together in front of a potential partner. Beyond just adjusting his clothes, preening also involves a dramatic shift in his overall physical posture. He will subconsciously stand taller, square his shoulders, and expand his chest to project an aura of strength, confidence, and masculinity. This is the human equivalent of a peacock flaring its feathers. He wants to stand out from the crowd and catch your eye. You might also catch him checking his reflection in a window or a phone screen when he thinks you aren't looking. If a man is completely indifferent to how you perceive him, he will remain entirely relaxed, slouching or ignoring his appearance when you arrive. Pay close attention to what he does the exact second you enter his field of vision. If his hands immediately fly to his hair, his clothes, or his posture shifts upward, his body language is screaming that your opinion of his appearance matters immensely to him. 4. He remembers the trivial details. In an era of endless digital distractions and short attention spans, genuine, deep focus is a rare commodity. When a man is romantically interested in you, his brain prioritizes your words above almost everything else, cataloging details that most casual acquaintances would instantly forget. Weeks or even months after a passing conversation, he might surprise you by bringing up your favorite childhood memory, the exact name of your first pet, a specific dietary preference, or a random hobby you mentioned in passing. This level of retention happens because attraction alters how the brain processes information. It treats every detail you share as highly valuable data, locking it directly into his long-term memory. This behavior goes far beyond basic politeness or good listening skills. It demonstrates an emotional investment in your inner world and a desire to truly understand what makes you tick. When someone remembers the small, trivial things, it is a clear sign that they're actively thinking about you even when you're not around. He might use these tiny details to surprise you, such as bringing you a specific type of coffee you mentioned liking once, or asking how a very specific, minor project at your workplace is going. By recalling these nuances, he is showing you that you have his undivided attention and that nothing you say is insignificant to him. It is a quiet, incredibly deliberate way of building intimacy proving that he values your thoughts and experiences enough to keep them at the forefront of his mind. 5. His feet are always pointed toward you. One of the most fascinating and completely uncensored aspects of body language is the direction of a person's feet. While humans have learned to control their facial expressions and verbal responses to hide their true feelings, the lower body remains remarkably honest because we rarely think about what our feet are doing. In behavioral psychology, it is a well-established fact that a person's feet will naturally point toward the thing they desire most or find most interesting in an environment. If a man is deeply attracted to you, his feet will consistently line up in your direction during an interaction, acting like a physical compass pointing straight toward his true center of attention. This sign becomes incredibly obvious and revealing in a group setting. You could be sitting in a large circle of friends or standing in a crowded room where he is actively engaged in a conversation with someone else entirely. However, if you look down, you will often find that his feet and knees are angled directly toward you, even if his torso is turned away to speak to another person. This alignment indicates that despite where his voice is directed, his core interest and focus remain locked onto you. Conversely, if a person wants to leave a conversation or is uncomfortable, their feet will unconsciously point toward the nearest exit or away from the person speaking. If his toes are consistently squared up with yours every single time you interact, his body is revealing an underlying attraction that his words might not yet have the courage to say. 6. He directs his best jokes to your reaction. Humor is a foundational cornerstone of romantic attraction, serving as an ancient way to build chemistry, defuse tension, and test compatibility. When a man is captivated by you, his primary objective in any social setting shifts toward making you smile and laugh. If you're in a group dynamic, pay close attention to his behavior the exact moment he delivers a punchline or says something clever. Without fail, his eyes will immediately dart across the group to land squarely on you. He is not looking at the rest of the crowd to see if they are laughing. He is looking exclusively for your approval and your reaction. Your laughter is the ultimate reward he is seeking. This behavior stems from a profound need for validation from the person he desires. Your positive reaction acts as a green light for his confidence, signaling that the two of you share a similar wave of humor and perspective. If you smile, his face will instantly light up with genuine satisfaction. If you seem unamused or distracted, you might notice his energy visibly dip or see him try harder to recapture your attention. A man who only views you as a casual friend will simply throw his jokes out into the open air, enjoying whoever happens to laugh along. But when he is harboring romantic feelings, you become his entire audience of one. Every witty remark, funny story, and playful tease is a targeted attempt to brighten your mood, impress you, and forge a joyful, shared connection that sets him apart from everyone else. 7. Subtle, unnecessary physical touch. Physical touch is the ultimate boundary breaker in human relationships, moving an interaction from the safe zone of friendship into the electric territory of romance. When a man likes you, he will constantly search for subtle, socially acceptable ways to initiate physical contact. This touch is completely non-threatening and often framed as accidental or completely natural, yet happens far too frequently to be a coincidence. You might feel his hand gently brush against yours while walking side by side, or notice him placing a supportive hand on the small of your back to guide you through a crowded doorway. He might playfully nudge your shoulder when you're laughing together, or briefly touch your forearm to emphasize a point during a conversation. The key identifier here is that these touches are entirely unnecessary for the context of the interaction. They are quiet, physical manifestations of his desire to feel closer to you and to test your comfort levels with his physical proximity. When we touch someone we like, our brains release oxytocin, creating an immediate sense of warmth and bonding. He is subconsciously seeking that chemical connection. Furthermore, he is watching your reaction intensely. If you don't pull away, flinch, or close off your posture, it signals to him that his presence is welcome, encouraging him to keep building intimacy. A man who sees you strictly as a platonic friend will strictly respect standard personal space boundaries, avoiding any ambiguous contact. If he is always finding an excuse to linger within your physical space, he is trying to bridge the gap between you. 8. His tone of voice lowers or softens. Voice modulation is a highly revealing biological response that occurs when we are in the presence of someone we are deeply attracted to. When a man speaks to a woman he likes, his vocal register will often undergo a distinct transformation, shifting into a lower, deeper, and softer tone. This acoustic adjustment is partly driven by a surge of testosterone, which naturally deepens the vocal cords, but it is also a subconscious psychological effort to project warmth, comfort, and masculinity. A deeper voice is evolutionarily associated with protection and strength, qualities that men naturally want to project to a potential romantic partner. You will notice this sign most clearly when you compare how he speaks to you versus how he interacts with others. When he's chatting with his friends, his voice might be loud, boisterous, or high energy. But the absolute second he turns his attention to you, his volume drops, and his cadence slows down, adopting a much more intimate, soothing quality. This vocal softening is designed to create an exclusive, private bubble between the two of you, forcing you to lean in slightly closer to hear him. It signals that he has dropped his guard, moving away from a performative social mode into a vulnerable, genuine space. If his voice takes on a distinct, gentle, and melodic warmth whenever he addresses you, it is a clear acoustic signature that he views you through a completely different, much softer lens than anyone else. 9. He angles his body to block out crowds. When a man is deeply infatuated with you, his protective instincts and his desire for exclusive attention will combine to alter how he positions his body in social spaces. In a busy room, a loud party, or a bustling street, he will naturally position his physical frame in a way that acts as a literal shield against the surrounding environment. He will turn his torso entirely toward you, square his shoulders, and effectively use his size to block out the rest of the crowd. This body positioning creates an intimate, enclosed visual and physical space where it feels like just the two of you exist. This behavior serves two primary subconscious purposes. First, it is an evolutionary protective posture. By placing himself between you and the chaos of a crowd, he is quietly signaling that he is a safe, secure anchor for you. Second, it is a powerful territorial display. By closing off his stance around you, he is non-verbally communicating to the rest of the room that his focus is completely occupied and that he is claiming this specific interaction. He is minimizing any external distractions that could pull your attention away from him. If a man is just talking to you casually, his body language will remain open to the room, allowing him to easily scan the environment, greet others, or step away. But when he likes you, he will deliberately anchor himself to you, turning his back to the crowd to ensure that his world is entirely centered on your face. 10. The mirroring of her gestures and pace. Mirroring is a deeply ingrained psychological phenomenon where a person unconsciously mimics the body language, speech patterns, and physical pacing of someone they deeply like or respect. It is the ultimate form of nonverbal flattery, driven by the brain's mirror neurons, which work to establish rapport, comfort, and a sense of shared identity between two people. When a man is romantically drawn to you, he will perfectly sync his movements to yours without even realizing it. If you lean back and cross your legs, a few moments later, he will likely follow suit. If you take a sip of your drink, he will unconsciously reach for his glass at the exact same time. This synchronicity extends far beyond just static postures. You will notice it in the cadence of his speech. If you talk softly and slowly, his energetic tone will dial down to match your wavelength. If you walk at a relaxed, leisurely pace, he will instantly restrain his stride to stay perfectly aligned with your side, rather than rushing ahead or lagging behind. Mirroring is his brain's way of saying, "I'm just like you, we are completely in sync, and you can trust me." It creates an immediate, unspoken comfort level because humans naturally gravitate toward those who reflect their own energy. If you want to test this, try making a distinct, subconscious movement during your next conversation, like resting your chin on your hand. If he adopts a similar posture within a minute, his subconscious mind is deeply attuned to your presence. 11. He always finds a reason to text first. In today's digital landscape, initiating contact is one of the most reliable currencies for measuring a person's true interest. When a man likes you, he will consistently take the initiative to reach out, breaking through the fear of looking overeager because his urge to speak to you completely overpowers his pride. He will not wait around for days, playing calculated mind games, or waiting for you to make the first move. Instead, he will regularly populate your lock screen with notifications, always finding a creative, casual, or completely mundane reason to start conversation. These opening lines can range from a genuine question about your day to a funny meme that reminded him of a shared joke or a recommendation for a song he thinks you would love. The underlying message behind every single text he initiates is exactly the same. You are on my mind right now. By consistently reaching out first, he is actively keeping himself relevant in your daily life, creating a continuous thread of communication that prevents the connection from fading away. A man who only views you casually or as an afterthought will only text when it is strictly convenient, when he needs something specific, or when he is bored. But when he is genuinely invested, he will intentionally create opportunities to chat out of thin air, ensuring that he is a constant, reliable presence in your digital world from morning until night. 12. The protective posture in public spaces. When a man develops romantic feelings for you, an ancient, deeply rooted biological instinct kicks into overdrive, the drive to protect and care for the person he desires. This is not about toxic possessiveness or acting overbearing. Rather, it is a series of quiet, incredibly chivalrous actions that manifest automatically when the two of you are navigating public spaces together. You will notice that he naturally positions himself as a physical buffer between you and any potential discomfort or chaos in the environment. For instance, when you're walking down a busy city sidewalk, he will consistently shift his position so that he is walking on the street side, placing himself closer to traffic while keeping you safe on the inside path. If you're moving through a densely packed bar or concert venue, he will step in front of you to gently part the crowd, looking back frequently to ensure you haven't lost your grip or become uncomfortable. If a sudden rainstorm hits, or if a room gets chilly, he will offer you his jacket without a second thought, completely ignoring his own comfort to ensure yours is taken care of. These protective microbehaviors are his way of showing that your safety, well-being, and absolute comfort are his top priorities. It is a nonverbal declaration that he is ready and willing to be a reliable, supportive anchor in your life. 13. He removes physical barriers between you. When we feel disconnected, anxious, or indifferent around someone, we unconsciously use the objects in our immediate environment to build defensive structures. We place a coffee cup, a heavy menu, a throw pillow, or a bag directly between ourselves and the other person to create a psychological safety wall. However, when a man is deeply attracted to you, he will do the exact opposite. He will actively, systematically clear away any physical objects that sit in the line of sight or space between the two of you. Watch his hands during a dinner date or a casual hangout. He will quietly slide the condiment bottles to the side, move the centerpiece out of the way, push his water glass over, or set his phone face down far away from his plate. By clearing this desk or table space, he is removing any symbolic or literal obstacles that disrupt the flow of energy between you. He wants a completely unobstructed view of your face and an open path to get closer to you. This behavior indicates a high level of comfort, extreme openness, and a desire for total transparency. He is consciously breaking down any filters or walls, signaling that he wants nothing to stand in the way of your connection. If he is always tidying up the space between you to ensure a clean, direct channel of communication, he is craving raw closeness. 14. His pupils dilate when he looks at you. This is arguably the most scientifically foolproof, completely involuntary sign of attraction on this entire list, simply because it is physically impossible for a person to fake it. The human autonomic nervous system controls the dilation of our pupils based on lighting, but it also responds dramatically to strong emotional states, such as fear, excitement, and deep romantic attraction. When a man looks at someone he is infatuated with, his brain experiences an immediate rush of dopamine and oxytocin. This chemical cocktail triggers a physiological fight-or-flight response that causes his pupils to dilate significantly, widening his eyes to take in as much visual data of your face as possible. You can observe this clearly even in a well-lit room where his pupils should naturally be constricted and small. If you're speaking closely with him and notice that his dark centers look remarkably large and wide, his body is revealing an intense level of physiological arousal and emotional captivation. It means his brain finds the sight of you incredibly rewarding and visually stimulating. This reaction is often accompanied by an increased blink rate or a slight widening of the eyelids, giving him that classic, soft, smitten expression. He cannot control this reaction with willpower or intellect. It is a direct, hardwired biological response to your presence. His eyes are literally widening in real time to absorb every single detail of the person who has captured his heart. 15. He lingers instead of making a clean exit. The final moments of any interaction are incredibly telling when it comes to assessing a man's true romantic intentions. When a man is completely indifferent or views a relationship as purely platonic, he will have no problem wrapping up a conversation and making a swift, clean exit once the practical purpose of the meeting is finished. He will say his goodbyes, turn on his heel, and move on with his day without a second thought. But when a man is under your spell, leaving your side becomes an incredibly difficult task that he will actively try to delay for as long as humanly possible. This manifests as lingering. When it is time to say goodbye at the end of an evening, a date, or even a brief encounter in a hallway, he will stretch out the farewell sequence. He will start a brand new conversation topic just as you are reaching for your keys, stand by your car door asking an unnecessary question, or give you a warm, slow hug that lasts a few beats longer than normal. Even after the goodbye is officially spoken, he will slow his walking pace away from you, looking back over his shoulder to share one last smile or wave. He is stretching time because your presence makes him feel incredible, and the thought of stepping back into his regular routine without you feels like a sharp come down. If he consistently drags out his exits, he is showing you that he simply cannot get enough of you.